go over here so that I can get on the live chat here just in case anybody has any questions. And what we're going to do here, we're going to refresh this page, and it should show up here. Sometimes it takes a couple of refreshes for it to show up. There should be. Go in here. See if we got anybody coming into the house. We're live.
Very good.
Sam the traveling man is here. So so welcome to the studio.
Well, thank you, Craig. I'm glad to be here.
And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of role playing. We're going to pretend that what we'll do is we'll switch back and forth. And like if there's some question you can't answer as the salesman, then we'll switch back to me being the salesman, and then I'll answer it.
All right.
And I probably can't look at you that much because when I turn away from this mic, I lose that audio.
That's fine.
And you want to, talk right into that mic. So what we'll do is we'll start out. I'm going to go ahead and ask a question. You're representing Frederick.com. You've come into a shop and you've said, I want to talk to you about Frederick.com. And I'm going to say, well, I'm kind of busy right now. I'll talk to you. We can talk another time. How do you answer that?
Hey, that's just fine. Do you mind if I look around your shop a little bit and probably try and re-engage?
Well, there you go. You look around the shop a little bit. And then the other thing that I always told people is I said, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll just keep you posted as we make progress because there's a lot of exciting things we're doing with Frederick.com. And so I just want to keep you in the loop and keep you informed so you know what's going on. And then many times I would just leave and I would go to the next prospect because there's a lot of prospects, right? Mm-hmm. But then when I did come back to see that prospect, I had something to show them. I didn't just come back. I came back and I had something to show them, preferably another business that had joined us,
sure,
that had signed up, an example of somebody joining us. And in this day and age with us making videos and so forth, we might have a video to show or something like that. So every time I went there, I had something to show them. Okay.
Very good.
And I was actually keeping them up to date. I wasn't necessarily selling them because he'd already said pretty much, hey, I'm not ready to go right now. Mm-hmm. But I was just keeping him in the loop and keeping him up to date. And then at some point in time, they would probably just want to join us, right? Okay, so here's another question that somebody might ask.
Sure.
They'd say, well, listen, hey, I saw your website and it looks kind of dated. It doesn't look like the current state-of-the-art websites I'm used to seeing.
Well, in what way? I'd ask,
Okay.
What way do you mean it's dated?
So,
we can go from there.
So here's how you respond to that, okay? It is dated. We've been around 20 years.
All right.
The current design is about the third generation of the site, which came out probably about 10 years ago. We did add a mobile version so that if people hit it with a mobile device, they get a mobile-friendly version. But we are in the middle now of totally redesigning the whole site, which is a major undertaking because of all the database-driven elements and the behind the scenes and the way it all works. It's a major ordeal to it's not just rolling out a WordPress site that anybody can do. It's a pretty major ordeal, but we are working on it. We do realize that some things need to be updated. But the other thing is it's functioning fine right now. The business directory works fine. It gets a lot of use. The mobile version of the site works well. Mm-hmm. So even though it does look somewhat dated, it is working. So we don't want to just roll something out, hasten something out, just because it looks more modern if we don't have the functionality that we really need.
Right. It'd be like bringing out the latest and greatest phone without a network to support it.
Exactly. So we want to think this through. We want to do it right. But we are addressing that. But in the meantime, it definitely makes sense for businesses to participate in everything that we're doing because it's also not just Frederick.com. It's the Frederick County Facebook page, which is getting very popular. It's the @Frederick County Twitter account, the @City of Frederick Twitter account, which have thousands of followers. It's a whole network that we've put together in 20 years' time to leverage the internet for small businesses. So really one of the things you're buying when you sign on as a sponsor of Frederick.com is that 20 years of experience and that 20 years of building a network that functions. And so, yes, we realize that the website needs to be updated, but at the same time, there's a lot that's been built here that is benefiting the businesses. So that's a long way of saying it, but I think you get the points that we want to make. Hello from Istanbul. Okay.
All right.
Well, there you go, Istanbul.
We've gone international.
So let's see here. All right. So let's say you were trying to sell me, and I'm a dry cleaner, okay? And I say something like, well, listen, I'm on Google. That's all I need. All I need to be is on Google. Why would I need to be on Frederick.com?
Well, by punching your website, are you going to pop right up at the top there?
So in other words, if you search like for Frederick Cleaners.
Sure. Are you at the top of that list, or are people going to have to sift through 6 pages? I mean, put it to you like this. When was the last time you were searching for anything, say a pizza place, and you picked anything that wasn't the top 5 that came up with Google?
Okay. And so here's the other way to address that they can grasp pretty quickly, is Google is a pay-to-play situation. The way that you get at the top, 9 times out of 10, is you buy an ad. That's why those are the sponsored listings up at the top. Those are paid ads. And the problem with dealing with Google with paid ads is it's expensive. Mm-hmm. And it's a moving target. There are no guarantees with them that you're going to pay X amount now, and then a year from now, you're going to be paying the same amount. One thing that Frederick.com has done since day one is when businesses sign up, they're in the pecking order that they sign up. They're first come, first listed in a given business category. And we grandfather their annual rate. So they pay a flat annual rate, and they're locked in and guaranteed their positioning in the site. So they don't have to pay extra to be bumped up into that position. They know what position they're in when they sign up. Mm-hmm. And so it's the difference between not knowing where you're going to be or how much you're going to pay and absolutely knowing. And then the other thing now with these other elements that we've added with the Frederick County Facebook page with 6,000 followers and with postings on there getting a lot of views, you can interact with people that are in your community. You can kind of like broadcast your information to them as opposed to them going to Google and getting it. You're now pushing the information on them. I don't like to use the term push, but that's what you're doing.
It is.
You're broadcasting your information out to interested parties.
Sure.
And so, yes, it's great to be on Google. And then the other thing, the other benefit, big benefit to being on Frederick.com is one of the things that Google looks at when they rank you as far as the native search results. We're not talking about the paid results now. We're talking about the native results. One of the ways that they rank you is the incoming links that are coming into your website. And are those coming in from high traffic sites? So not only do they look at how many links you have coming into your website, how many websites are linking to you, but they also look at the influence or the traffic on the site that is linking to you. So they give more weight to a site like Frederick.com, for example. If that links to you, they'll give more weight to that incoming link, and that will benefit your SEO or search engine optimization. So that will help you get better positioning in Google as far as the native search results, not the paid search results.
Just by association. That's
right. And you want to get as many incoming links coming into your site as possible from high traffic sites. Mm-hmm. You want to get as many as you can, period. But if you can get them from high traffic sites, that's of benefit. So that's kind of how you address that question. Okay, most important that the websites are responsive. There you go, Trevor. All right, and that's what we're working on the new version of the site. It is going to be a responsive site. Of course, some of the sites that are responsive sites don't work very well. And I'll tell you, we've been working on this a long time, and it's not just throw it up there and it works. It's not like that. I mean, some of them just don't work very well. And so we've had to go through a lot of redesigns and tweaking and so on, and then we're still trying to kind of get it right before we launch it. So, because you go to a lot of sites and you ever scroll up and they're jumpy or they just don't work right, or
it's just troublesome and a bother to use.
It doesn't line up right, or just weird things are happening. I mean, it's not always a bed of roses. Afternoon, hello, evening, afternoon. All right. So, all right, let's see. What other objections do we hear out there? Okay, so
So how about
okay. Let's say that they go there and they look at a category and they say, well, I don't see that many businesses there in that category. Well, why would I want to be there? I say, how do you answer that?
Why would you want to be there?
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. If you don't see a lot of business there, Frederick.com has a lot of eyes on it. It's a very highly frequented site. So if there are not a lot of businesses in that category that you would find yourself in, that means even less competition. That's more eyes on your site as opposed to Google.
Okay. And the most important point, first come, first grab.
Mm-hmm. You're going to be
so if you get in first under, let's say, dry cleaners, you're listed number one, you own that spot. And as other dry cleaners now are going to see that you're there, all of a sudden they're going to start noticing that you're there, and they're going to want to be there. Guess what? They're going to be listed below you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not alphabetical. Okay, it's in the order you signed up. So that's your benefit for signing up early, right? And then, of course, we grandfather your rate and so on, your annual rate. So that's a benefit to get in sooner rather than later. And then you can give some examples of some businesses that have been on the site for many years, and they have a grandfathered rate that's lower, and so they're benefiting from that. Okay, so trying to think what else. Okay, so all right, so let's say I'm a restaurant.
All
right, and no, it's a bit off target, but Sarah doing fine. I haven't gotten an update on Sarah. Sarah had a truck accident.
How long ago?
Truck or car, a couple days.
Okay.
Bad accident. But I think she's going to be okay.
Good.
So, all right. So, I'm a restaurant, and there's about 20 restaurants, let's say, on the restaurants. Okay. So I'm going to be way down the list now. Okay. Way down here at the bottom. All right. So what do you tell me if I'm not going to be in that great a spot?
That's for me, have not faced that question before. That's a difficult one to answer because obviously, if it's like we were saying with dry cleaners, if there's not a lot in there, that's fantastic. You're grandfathered in up at a higher rate. So I can see the concern, Craig. I got to defer. How would you answer that question?
Okay, so here's the deal on that. This is the So you got to be creative on all these things. So here's the deal on this one. So if there's a bunch of restaurants there, first of all, the fact that all those restaurants are listed there, those all are indexed by Google. So they all pull more traffic into that category. So that category is going to get a lot of traffic, right? It might get 10 times the traffic of the one that only has one listing. So all of a sudden you've got more traffic. So even though you're further down the list, you got more eyeballs, so they're potentially going to see you. And the other thing is, as there is some churn in the restaurant business, we know that some restaurants go out of business, right? I mean, it just happens with restaurants. Well, let's say you get in position 15, and let's say your restaurant isn't one of those restaurants that goes out of business.
Mm-hmm.
You're the long haul restaurant, right? Over time, you're going to move up because through attrition, there are going to be some restaurants, particularly restaurants as a business where, there's some turnover.
Sure.
You're going to slowly but surely move up the list.
So,
so the sooner you get in, the sooner you're getting in that line so that you're going to be positioned to later on be in a good spot. If you keep waiting and keep letting the other restaurants get in there, and then when you finally join, you're going to be way down here. And we would really like to include your restaurant. Now, that's the word you want to use as often as possible. Include.
We'd like to include your business.
Yes.
Very good.
Because what's the opposite of include?
To disclude, to get out. Hey,
Excluded.
we don't want you.
Excluded. People don't want to be excluded, right? So we want to include them. So that's how you address that. There's David in the house. All right. So I'm trying to think what other objections. Okay, here's a good one. Okay. So I've heard that your politics are conservative. You all are kind of conservative. We're very liberal. We don't believe in the conservative viewpoint. So I'm not gonna. I don't want to have anything to do with your website.
Well, that's a fine point. But when was the last time that whether someone was liberal, conservative, that kept them from being hungry and wanting to find a place to eat? And this site draws a lot of attention. Okay,
so there you go. So disclude isn't a word. Include. Exclude. I said exclude.
No, I said disclude. They caught me on that.
Oh, they
that was
did.
A good catch.
Uh-oh. All right, so here's the thing. On the politics thing, here's the thing. Okay, well, so I grant you the founder of Frederick.com is rather conservative and would probably rather see a very, 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 very small federal government and have the locals be stronger. But he's going to retire in 5 years. We don't know who's going to be in charge 5 years from now. And we don't know what their politics are going to be. But we do know that the first come, first listed is going to be in stone. That's been our policy since day one. We do know that the rates are grandfathered for sponsors. And so we do know that those benefits of being part of the business directory and part of the community that has been built will not go away.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't post anything political on the site. We don't post our political views. It's not about politics. Our site is about promoting small, particularly small owner-operator businesses. That's our specialty. But any business can join, obviously. But we really like to focus on promoting small owner-operator businesses. And there's not time, when you're focused on doing that, there's not time to talk about politics. So we don't get involved in any of that.
Very good. I'd be hard-pressed to find someone who would disagree with that.
So that's what we do. I mean, we just don't have time. We're too busy promoting these small mom and pop businesses. It might be a word, actually. Somebody says, uh-oh, yeah. There you go. We'll see. We'll get some research on that.
The English language is very fluid.
Yeah. Okay, so what else can you think of?
So the first, go ahead.
What about? Well, I just don't have the money.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have the money in my budget.
And that's right where I was thinking. Comes back to, let's talk numbers. And we have to do a little bit of history with the shop at that point. What have you been pulling in? Have you tried to do any advertising in the past? And then start doing comparative. I don't have a list of excuse me.
What types of advertising are you doing now?
Exactly.
Is there something that might not be as efficient? I like to use the term efficient. Because when you're replacing some other form of advertising, typically you have to be about 10 times as effective to replace that already established form of advertising. So let's say, for example, they're doing radio ads, right? We would have to be 10 times better for them to think about jettisoning the radio ads and going with this, because they're making a change. They're taking a leap of faith. They're taking something that they think is working, and they're going for something else. So they've got to see a significant reason why they want to do that. And disruptive technologies are like that. They usually have to be significantly better than the technology they're disrupting.
Absolutely.
In order to take hold and in order to work. And so I would just make the statement that we have found over the last 20 years of doing this, we have found that this is a very efficient way to reach people in your target area. That there really is no other way to reach them, especially if you use the tools we have. If you use the Frederick County Facebook page, if you use the Twitter accounts, which you have access to being a sponsor, if you use these tools, and or if we use them on your behalf, we make sure that we leverage these tools, there really is no more efficient way to reach the people.
Very good.
And if there is, we want to know about it because we want to get involved in it. We add to our arsenal of tools anything that is significant and powerful and efficient. We're going to roll it into what we're doing. And that's how we operate. So if there's something out there that you think is working better, let us know, because we'll figure it out and we'll roll it in. We'll make it part of this package that we've put together for local businesses.
Very good.
So it looks like a population boom is going on in Frederick. I was checking the demographics. Absolutely. It's the biggest. It's also the biggest county in Maryland. It's about 35 miles long. It's a huge county. You found out driving all the way up here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is a big county. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of development in the southern part of the county, down around Urbana. That's sort of like the Bethesda of Frederick County. The Bethesda, Maryland is a very affluent section in Montgomery County to the south of us. And Urbana is sort of like the Bethesda of Frederick, very high end.
All right.
And so that area is just booming like crazy. All around the city of Frederick is growing, and other parts of the county are also growing. So, Craig, do you believe in narrowcasting instead of broadcasting? Well, yeah. I mean, if you can target, we call that targeting, right? If you can target, and we're narrow broadcasting right now. We're only going 20 people watching, 21 people, right? So if you can target, absolutely. Like if that restaurant, for example, they don't want to target people 30 miles away because they're not going to drive 30 miles, right?
Sure.
They want to reach people within 5 miles of their restaurant, and so they want to do what they can do to target those local people. And we have a lot of ways to do that with what we've put together. So, I'm trying to think what else comes up. A lot of people will just say no to everything. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's just their default because there's people coming in all the time talking to them about
it's easier to shut people down.
Opportunities. And most of the opportunities are garbage. So it's smart that they say no to everything. Right. And some people say no to internet-related things because they just don't know. They're not familiar with it. They're uncomfortable with what they don't know about. And so one thing that I often would like to say to a business is we know that you are 100% focused on your business. That is why you're successful. You're not successful with a small business in this day and age if you are not totally focused on your business. But the problem is that the internet is fairly important. The internet is kind of like the 1,000-pound gorilla out there. I mean, it really, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe you could ignore it if you were in business, right? But now, these days, I think you're taking a big risk if you ignore the internet. And so what we like to do is we like to put together a custom package for your business that will help you leverage the internet, even if you don't want to learn anything about it. Mm-hmm. In other words, what can we do with our tools to kind of watch your back and to make sure that you've got an adequate presence on Facebook, an adequate presence on Twitter, maybe Instagram, and just make sure that at least you're doing something, that you're covering yourself so that you're not left vulnerable to competitors that might be
a little bit more savvy,
taking advantage of these things. That's right. And so I would leave it with them. I would say, just think about, would you like to have someone in your camp that has extensive experience in this and that has put together a package and that works with a lot of businesses that aren't necessarily internet savvy,
right?
But that know that it's no joke. It's not something that you can ignore anymore. And we think that it would be a good relationship for us to work with you, just like we work with hundreds of other businesses. And we'd love to have you join, and we'd love to include you in what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep using that word include.
Be
right?
inclusive, be a part of the team.
And then, and if you're not ready to join us now, I understand that, because, you know, we just met, right? But let me keep you informed and keep you up to date as we grow this thing. And when you're comfortable and you're ready to join us, then we'll make that happen. And then go from there. And that sometimes they'll start slowly lowering their guard a little bit, right? And then you'll be able to get a conversation going.
Becoming a little bit more comfortable.
Frederick, seeing an influx of people from Prince George's County, Montgomery County, looking for more reasonable housing options. A lot of them are coming up from Montgomery County. Not so sure about Prince George's. I think they go out the other direction from there. They're out into Anne Arundel County and places like that. But I think a lot of them are coming up from Montgomery County. Craig, why don't you get involved in local politics? I'm sure you would have a lot of supporters. Yeah, right. Is that sarcasm? I would want to fire them all. That's my problem. I want very small government. Very, very small, tiny government. I think we can do a lot more with the private sector. And we're going to show that with Frederick.com. We're going to show what we can do.
Cheers.
So there you go. So anything else you think we should talk about before we wrap the broadcast? Any other objections you can think of that would come out of the woodwork?
The biggest objection that I had in mind, you already covered, was talking about someone who maybe they have a spot taken out in the newspaper, or a weekly spot that pops up on the radio and they don't want to transfer over. So I think you covered that. Yeah, really.
And I think the other thing that you have to have handy, and this is really key. And what I had a sample book. I had a 3-ring notebook that started out just an inch thick one, right? And then it kept getting thicker and thicker.
Imagine.
You can buy an inch and then an inch and a half, then 2 inch, I ended up had like a huge, 4-inch one underneath my arm. But what I did was I had exhibits for everything. So for example, if somebody said, well, I'm with the Chamber of Commerce, I don't really need Frederick.com, right? I would be able to show them, and now, of course, nowadays you could show them probably a screen grab on your iPad.
Pull up the iPad or whatever.
I would show them, for example, the number of subscribers that they have on their YouTube channel compared to how many we have on ours. I'd show them videos that they've put up maybe on Facebook and what the view counts look like. And then I'd show them some example videos of ours and what the view counts look like. Because there's a huge difference, right? So I would clearly show them that there's a significant difference.
You can't argue with real numbers.
Exactly. So here's the thing let's face it, you're in sales. That's what it is. It's sales. We're in sales, right? I'm in sales. Everybody's in sales. Lawyers are in sales, for gosh sakes. Doctors are in sales. Everybody is selling something to somebody, okay? If they're making bank, if they're making money, trust me, you're selling something. That's the way the world works, okay? Everybody says, well, I can't be a salesman. Well, if you can't, then you're going to be broke, okay?
Period.
Because whatever business you're in, you're selling.
At the end of the day, you're selling yourself.
And so here's the thing. They're going to look at you as being a salesperson. Regardless of what your title is, regardless of what you're actually doing, that's what they're going to look at you as. And everything that comes out of the mouth of a salesperson is a lie. So therefore, what you have to do is every point you make, you need to have an exhibit. And an exhibit that can't be contradicted, right? That is just black and white, and that they can go and verify on their own, right? For example, they can go to our YouTube channel and see how many subscribers we have. And then they can go to the Frederick News Post's YouTube channel and see how many subscribers they have, right? It's right there. And so as long as you have something that you can show them that buttresses the statement that you're making, then all of a sudden you start getting credibility. You start being credible, and they start believing you. And then, of course, once they know you and they realize that you're a straight shooter, then you're fine. But we're talking about in the early stages here where they don't know you. So you have to show them, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's really key, is to have the exhibits. Trying to think what else. Lawyer only work for the state. When will you bring Sam to Little Treasury to have Steve fit him with a stunning Grand Seiko? That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, we'll get him hooked up with a timepiece. I'm wearing the gold stunner right now.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm wearing that little dress watch right now. So
we won't talk about mine.
Yeah, we'll get him set up with a timepiece. That might be his 6-month bonus. His 6-month bonus. Yeah. So anything you want to say to wrap up?
No, I'm really happy to have the opportunity here. I appreciate you having me over tonight and able to do this little bit of an introduction for whoever's watching and just kind of hit things back and forth.
We should go to, let's see, where's the close-up? There we go, a little close-up. Look at the little close-up shot on Sam.
Outstanding.
Yeah, there you go. So, so what are you going to do? What's your plans next? You're gonna take a little bit of time off for the holiday.
Yeah, just transitioned out and made our way over here to Maryland. Saw a little bit of family in Virginia, and I'm going to take my wife. We're going to fly back to Washington State and to Vancouver, British Columbia. We spend Christmas and New Year's there, and then immediately coming back here and getting down to business for Frederick.com.
There you go. I'll tell you what, let's hear in the chat. We got 19 people watching right now. Let's hear in the chat. How many people in the chat think that Sam is going to be able to just really make some hay here in Frederick County? Really get some things going on. He's going to be out there pounding the pavement, out there making things happen, meeting interesting people, helping people out, getting them going the right direction on the internet. How many people, and there's some delay, so it's going to take a while.
No
How many
worries.
people think that Sam is going to really knock it out of the park, that we got a home run king sitting right here? He's going to be hitting some singles, some doubles, some triples, and a bunch of home runs. Let's see, last week I saw several Grand Seikos for the first time. Spectacular pieces. Well, there you go. We've introduced a lot of people to Grand Seiko with our network.
You've got some fantastic
I just went to Frederick.com. It appears to me he should have every business listed in simple black and white with a phone number, then let the businesses see others who pay a fee. Well, we do have it sort of like that. The sponsors are first, Rich. If you go to a particular category, like go to restaurants, click on R, go to restaurants, the sponsors are first, and they've got like, an icon, and they've got a link to their website and all that. The name, addresses, and phone numbers that are down below, they're all free listings. So they can get free listings in there, but they're down below. Sun is shining. He looks like a go-getter. Thumbs up from Brian. Looks like he will try hard from Eddie. Go for it, Sam. Home runs all day. Go for it, Sam, young fella. Well, there you go.
Thank you, folks.
You got a lot of folks cheering for you.
Well, we're going to make it happen. I appreciate the enthusiasm and the support.
There you go. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up. Unless there's anything else you can think of that we haven't covered.
I can't think of a thing. I'm sure that, as always, something will come to me on the drive home, but I'll take a note and we'll talk about it next time.
And they're gonna come out with some things from left field too. They're gonna come out with some objections from left field. You'll be able to deal with those. So all right, let's stop this puppy. Sam is wearing a Rolex. No, he's not.
No, I'm wearing my trusted Timex.
His 6-month, when he gets his 6-month bonus, we'll probably give him the choice of the Rolex or the Grand Seiko, and we'll see which way he goes. But we'll get him out there to Little Treasury Jewelers and let him meet Steve, and we'll see what's going on with all that. So, all right, I'm going to wrap this up, folks, and I'll let Sarah know that you all were asking about her, too. People always buy from people they like. Well, there you go. And they're going to like Sam. That's right. Sam's in town.
I'm here. Let's play.
So there you go. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Oh, Sam, they reach you at sam@frederick.com.
That's right.
Actually, sam@frederick.com. Is Sam the replacement host for Cowgirls Live? No, but he has a hat. Can you go put your hat on real quick?
Sure, I can do that.
He's got a hat. He's got a hat. So let me cut back to the wide shot here.
Fifth generation cowboy, trying my hand at something new.
There you go. All right. So you're fifth generation?
Yeah.
All right.
Mild man, grandpa, and it keeps going.
We're going to get him on the Cowgirls live show at some point because Sarah does interview cowboys. So, yeah, absolutely. We're going to get him on the show and make things happen. I'm loving my new Grand Seiko coming from Rich Winslow.
Fantastic, Rich.
All right. All right, folks. Well, hey, thanks again for watching. And we're going to wrap this puppy up. See what I do here is I hit stop.
All righty.
And then it says complete event. One more time.